It was supposed to be the trip of a lifetime. A dream vacation, the kind you plan for years, the kind where you finally get to cross something off your bucket list. For me, it was a solo adventure to Southeast Asia, exploring temples, tasting street food, and meeting people from all walks of life. But what started as an incredible journey ended up turning into a nightmare. I'll never forget the day it all went south. I was in this small coastal town, miles away from the nearest city. It was a beautiful day. I was soaking up the sun by the beach, feeling totally at peace. That is, until I stepped into the ocean and bam, I felt something sharp. It wasn't a jellyfish sting, no. It wasn't even a coral scrape. It was a rock lodged into my foot, just deep enough to make walking impossible. I limped my way out of the water, hoping it wasn't too bad. But as I checked my foot, I realized it wasn't just a scratch. I could see blood, the wound was swollen, and honestly, it was starting to feel a little worse. I started to panic, not because of the pain, but because I was alone. And I was in a country where I didn't speak the language, didn't know the healthcare system, and had no clue where the nearest hospital was. I limped to a local clinic, and when I walked in, I was greeted with a smile that quickly faded as soon as the nurse saw the injury. She glanced at me, took one look at my foot, and then dropped the bombshell. "I'm sorry, but we can't treat you here." I was in shock. I thought, how could they not treat me? This is a hospital. But no, they weren't equipped for this level of care. They told me I needed to go to a larger city, one I could barely pronounce, let alone find. In that moment, I felt completely helpless. My mind was racing. What if it got infected? What if it was worse than I thought? What if I couldn't even get the care I needed? And the worst part? I couldn't figure out how to make it all happen. But then my brain did this weird thing. I remembered something I hadn't thought about in a while. My travel insurance. I'll admit, I hadn't really paid much attention to it when I signed up. It was one of those just-in-case things you check off when booking a flight, right? You think, I'm healthy, nothing's gonna happen. But here I was, face-to-face with a real emergency. So I took a deep breath, pulled out my phone, and called the number on the insurance card. Within minutes, the representative on the other side was calm, efficient, and reassuring. They didn't just give me a generic, "We'll send you a list of hospitals." No. They helped me figure out where to go next, coordinated a transfer, and even told me what to expect when I got there. I was so relieved, I honestly almost cried. It wasn't just that I could get medical care. It was that I wasn't alone in that moment anymore. I made my way to the city, and thank God, I got the treatment I needed. It wasn't pretty, stitches, antibiotics, and a lot of waiting. But at least I was alive and healing. But here's the real kicker. The thing that shocked me even more than getting care was how much the travel insurance ended up covering. Turns out I didn't have to pay out of pocket for any of it. The cost of my treatment, transportation, everything all covered. I couldn't believe it. What could have been an incredibly expensive, stressful situation was handled with ease, all because of a small decision I had made months earlier. I have learned a lot from that experience. Travel is amazing, but life is unpredictable. Things happen when you least expect them, and sometimes you can't plan for every possible scenario. But one thing I can tell you for sure is, having travel insurance and knowing how to use it saved my trip. It saved me from a nightmare becoming a full-blown disaster. If you're planning a trip anytime soon, my advice is simple. Get travel insurance. It's not something to think about lightly. But don't just buy any insurance either. Take the time to find one that's actually going to help you when you need it the most. I personally use auras.insure. I'm not saying this because they're paying me to say it. Honestly, I didn't even know about them until I needed them. But ever since that incident, I've trusted them with every single trip. Their coverage is straightforward, the process is simple, and it saved me more than once. They truly came through for me when I needed them most. So yeah, the time I got denied medical care abroad, it could have been a disaster. But because I had travel insurance, it didn't just get resolved, it got handled smoothly without me having to break the bank or stress over the details. Trust me, it's worth it.